let nobody tell anyone that Nigerians are not paying tax, whether direct or indirect tax.
Yes.
Whether you are payee or not payee tax, you are paying one form of tax or the other. Even on anything you buy, just basically as doing transactions from your bank, you need to see the charges that goes there. They won't tell you they are even maintaining the ATM cards that you have to pay to collect, and they'll tell you that they are maintaining it every month. There is always a charge. As low as 5,000 naira, if you start going up, you start seeing 15 naira, 100 naira, and some people could collect as much as 2,000 charges per month.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Just Africa, the show where we explore ideas, industries and innovations shaping our continent's future. Today we are unpacking a topic at the very heart of accountability and citizens' rights: freedom of information in Nigeria. Yes, freedom of information in Nigeria. Now, access to information isn't just a legal tool. It is a lifeline for journalists, activists, communities, and every Nigerian who believes in transparency and justice access to public information. It is a cornerstone of democratic governance and a vital tool for human rights advocacy. Now, the Freedom of Information Act, FOI, passed in 2011 in Nigeria, was meant to empower citizens, journalists, and civil society to hold the public institutions accountable. Yet, more than a decade later, systemic challenges, including bureaucratic resistance, weak compliance, and limited public awareness, have hindered its full potential. Now, this is Just Africa, reaching you live from our studios in Lagos. I am Olumide Shokoya, of course. I have the ever-looking from my brother from the
East. Yeah.
From the East.
Yeah, I represented the East today. I decided to come with my regalia today.
You know, I have this...
Ishago.
Ishago
is doing tweeting on top of the set today. And of course, I mean, well, good afternoon, Lagos. Good afternoon, Nigeria. Good afternoon, Africa. We're here reaching you live from our studios. And of course, we're going to have a very interesting conversation today as it pertains to our work.
Yes.
And of course, the value that we place on human lives, because it's the rights of humans that, you know, ensure that we remain humane. I mean, humane. It always works. And I do like the fact that these conversations happen regularly, because the truth is a lot of people don't even know what their rights are, right? And then they don't even know what to demand for or expect. So everybody just goes like, okay, it's a norm. This is how it's supposed to be. But then again, it's good that I have this conversation. Hopefully, the more conversations that I had, more people become enlightened and know what to do at particular times.
You know, I was discussing with one of our colleagues in the office, who is also a legal expert. We had an episode of Soup Business Landscape, and our guest was talking about protecting your source. Do you understand? So now, he said that journalists should protect their source, and he was saying something like it was legal. And I had to ask a legal expert, and he said the Constitution does not expressly protect your source. So you, at a point, you will be required, when a court someone you will be required
if it's evidence that is going to support, you know, maybe like a case, you would have to. But at that point, I think during our training, we're like, when you get to that point, you have to concede, right? But it's not like you publicly from the get-go, somebody says, oh, what's your source? And then you just outrightly just expose such a person. And of course, in terms of freedom of information, you and I know that one of the things that can officially elevate a man is how much information that he has, right? But the challenge that we have now, part of the challenge that we have now is there's now information, disinformation, and misinformation. So information is good, but you don't now begin to know which one can help you or which one can break you. It's information, yes, and it's something that should help form your decisions or plan. But if you don't have the right information, it becomes detrimental to you, and then you don't plan well, you don't make decisions. And of course, as Africa it is something that is drawing us back, and we need better ones.
All right, so today on Just Africa, we speak with Kehinde Adegboyega, a leading voice in human rights, journalism, and digital advocacy, about the practical realities of using the Freedom of Information Act to promote transparency, civic engagement, and accountability. So glad to have you, Adegboyega.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here this Friday. Major traffic there. Today is Friday.
Yes.
And it's almost like everybody's trying to get their Christmas chicken today.
All right, so Freedom of Information Act 2011, almost 14 years. How would you say, how has it shaped journalism, civic engagement from then till now?
Wow. So that act legalized, or I would say gave a legal standing to be able to ask for information from, especially from government.
Yes.
Because before now, even though we all understand that there's a social contract between the citizens and the government,
yes.
that when we give you the power, we should be able to hold you accountable for
Yes.
that power. But before the act, there was no legal basis to be able to ask for that. They could easily have rejected your request for information, but the act changed the dynamics, legalized journalists, not just because before now journalists would would have relied on sources that are willing to give them information within those government parastatals. We know the Official Secret Act and all those issues that even try to limit even the civil society, normal civil servants to sign that act, that they should not release this information and all that. And we still have, despite even the FOI, we still have some information still inaccessible under the national security. So, for instance, no matter you can ask information, you may not be able to ask about the budget for the national defense and also what it was spent on. Unfortunately, they keep increasing the budget for that every year. But like we all know, it's news everywhere. Before someone will say we are selling Nigeria in the bad side, it's news everywhere. Kidnapping is increasing, banditry is increasing, terrorism is increasing, despite the increase in budget for defense. And unfortunately, you can't even ask questions. You can't ask questions. It's like, and if you try to release information, you could be charged for treasonable felony and all that. But just back to your question, the FOI changed the dynamics of journalists being able, not just journalists, civil society or even citizens, be able to ask questions. And based also on the fact that, and I'm very sure everybody is aware that the fact, the funding that is released to states have increased.
Has increased, yes.
Yes. You can fact check me. The Tinubu government was asking citizens that I've given them more money, go ask them.
Yes.
So that means the legal basis to be able to ask that question is therefore, unfortunately, there's still a lot of bottlenecks. Some states will say, no, that's a national act. We have not domesticated in our state. And I don't want to shoot on the gun, and I know we are still going to address that question about the challenges. But one of the major challenges is that there is this news recently when someone requested for an information, and the cost, they expected that the person would bear the cost of printing that document.
Oh, yes,
you know how much they gave him?
Yes.
That's a really, like, it was very funny. And people were saying, yeah, you could digitalize this. You should be able to digitalize this, and it should not come at the cost for the citizens or the journalists because they want to ask for this information and all that. So there are lots of bottlenecks. I've seen where citizens, even local government chairman, ask questions about local government roles, and they start talking down at them, saying, "Are you a journalist?" And I've seen there's a lot of issues, but I don't want to. I think I should stop here.
Why do you think access to information, like everybody's saying freedom of information, why is having this access very, very important and critical to development?
Yeah, it's very critical. It's very critical, especially let's even forget about whatever has been happening before this government.
Yes.
Now, a lot of souvenirs, I don't know what we call it, I've forgotten the name that we, subsidies.
Okay.
Have been removed from petroleum, removed even from education, even from basically everything, electricity and all that. And these guys that they want to put that money into development.
Yes.
So that means it's critical for us to be able to ask information. And we know what it is, even the coastal line.
Road, yes.
That's a journalist did ask them.
How much per kilometer?
And so, and now, it's also more critical because next year is going to be a bit different. The new tax policy.
Yes.
And we can't lie about this. We have a tax master in charge, but there is no entity to give accountable. So it's very important, and Jamie, that for us to really see dividends, if at all there's anything like a dividend of democracy, we have always heard that dividend of democracy. If there's, for us to really be able to track our development, how much have they set the budget for education? Is it going there? Are they inflating the budget? Is money being released to the right persons? Is it executing? How much do they, without trying to go off the questions, there was a road being constructed in my area. I saw a FEMA signboard. You need to see the state of the road. The quality of that is really shameful that FEMA will put their signboard that they are constructing. They just went pull some sand, gravel, then they start putting this black thing on the. And you need to see the state of this. So, but this FOI would help us to be able to ask questions.
How much was budgeted?
How much was budgeted? And be able to hold someone accountable. Say, oh, you've collected this money. This money has been approved. Yeah, and when they tell us that they spent 3 million, we give borehole. They're like, yeah. Borehole is not a complaint sign. Almost everybody dig their borehole. So if you are telling me you spent even millions in doing borehole or reconstructing, if you are saying you spend millions in reconstructing educational facilities or healthcare facilities, everybody knows what it costs. Almost every Nigerian is building one little infrastructure in their place, and they know what it costs. At the moment, you can make sure that budget line is open. This is how much we assume that we have budgeted for this.
Yes.
I will also be able to assess the quality of job that we have done, like the road that have been mentioned now. Yeah. So I won't be surprised how much they budgeted for that road and the shambles that they are constructing. So it helps the citizens to be more aware that, when the local government is talking as if they are doing us a favor. This is how much, and you see some people, even state government, even recently a neighboring state, I don't want to mention, say, I built roads for you. We all know that there is no road anywhere. A neighboring state to Lagos State government, I don't want to, Lagos State, I don't want to mention. So we built roads for you. A lot of us have family there. We have been there, we know there was no road. I just built an airport for you to. You can ask, how much did it cost you to, what dividend? And they're saying, we want to do the coastal line now. How much will it cost you? We want to do blue line, red line, how much will it cost? How long will it go to take? Where are you getting that funding from? Is it from the taxpayer? Is it from loan? What are the conditions of those loans? Those are the questions, because we need to be aware, because we will get to pay for it. Whether you like it or not, whether they tell you, it's everybody's money, like they be sharing it, but we are paying for it. We are paying for it in a VAT. And let nobody tell anyone that, Nigerians are not paying tax. Whether direct or indirect tax, whether you are paying or not paying tax, you are paying one form of tax or the other. Even on anything you buy, even just basically as doing transactions from your bank, you need to see the charges that goes there. They won't tell you they are even maintaining the ATM cards that you have to pay to collect. And they'll tell you that they are maintaining it every month. And there is always a charge. As low as 5,000 naira, if you start going up, you start seeing 50 naira, 100 naira. And some people could collect as much as 2,000 charges per month. These are one form of tax or the other that we are paying. So as whether we like it or not, we are going to pay these funds that are well allocated or embezzled. Someone is going to pay for it. We are all going to pay for it. Now, before now, you could send your children to public school and say, it doesn't cost much or it does not cost a lot. But now you have to pay for
your taxes. What you have to do?
You have to pay for those education.
Yes.
And that means for you to be able to pay for it, that means the savings, your savings is depreciated. So everybody, one way or the other, is paying for this loan, for this funds that have been siphoned, moved to anywhere. Like a former senator, there was a video of a former senator recently that came up in one country outside Nigeria, in Europe, and he was saying that you people and Europeans, he was addressing the Europeans, that most of our funds, that we cannot sit here and be just be victimizing Africans. Most of our funds are locked out here. And we know that the Abacha loot is still coming back like rain, right. Like rain to us. So this is very germane that we strengthen this FOI Act, assess the limitation, the bottleneck, so that we can hold ourselves accountable. It's not everybody that can jackpot. It's not everybody that is eventually going to move out. It's not good, but if we are choosing to be in our country, we should be able. And so the sad part is that a few of us have traveled. Even the government people, they have traveled a lot. If you go to these countries, you ask yourself, what are the resources that these people have that the Nigerians don't have? We have the best of resources. It was when they were kidnapping in Zamfara that we knew that they had gold. It's gold that some countries, even gold has become a form of value storage. Currency for a lot of. So that means maybe you are supposed to be a billionaire, I don't know.
All right, so Mr. Adegboyega, let's look at some of the limitations of Freedom of Expression Act. I mean, so before now, there are a lot of things that we did not know, but as events started unfolding, we started, hearing certain things. For instance, at a point, former governor of Rivers State, Governor Wike, he came out to tell the people that go and ask your governors that they've gotten a certain amount of money. So what do you think sometimes, and these informations are supposed to just be out there. But, I mean, before now, police will stop you, tell you to bring out your phones, and then someone came out to say police have no right to search. So do you think that these informations are being deliberately withheld, or how can journalists, how can civil rights, how can they collaborate with government agencies to help them disseminate certain information?
Yes. I want to pick the word I use and as an appropriate choice of word, whether deliberately. So without trying to sugarcoat it, we will all agree to say larger extent that this is a deliberate act. It's like a weapon of government fashion against Nigerians themselves. Like, I wouldn't say because that. This is supposed to be open. Like, if you have nothing to hide, brothers, if you have nothing to hide, let's let it be open. Let's see how much I'm budgeting for constituency projects. And we're in the digital age. We should, sometimes I think FOI is even a misnomer because this information, I don't need to ask.
Yeah.
Maybe even if I thought I asked, you can just say, oh,
it's available.
Journalists, civil society, citizen, this is where it is. Maybe you just point me to where it is. I don't need to ask. It should, the moment you approve the budget, it should be open. It should, we live in a digital age. But unfortunately, a lot of we are still having a lot of challenges. I will not say whether this is also deliberate. A lot of challenges with open government, like maybe is it at the local government, is it at the state level, is it at the federal level? Open government in the sense that people don't have access to this information, and the government is not willing to, like, oh, let's say we have a dedicated website from the local government.
Yes.
Every local government. Even now that the local government autonomy bill, that means they have access to more funding, no excuse. So everybody should, like, this is how much we have received so far. Yes. It should just be in that website. And they should also look at civic tech that can ensure that everybody has, almost everybody have access to WhatsApp. You can, like, say, oh, let's have this WhatsApp bot or AI to say, oh, in Ibejuleki in Koshofe. This is how much was allocated. Yeah, these are the infrastructure this is where the budget to like
Something like that. That's
something so easy like I'm seeing this road happening in my city. Who is building it?
You can
I can just check. Oh, this is no hiding. It should not. If we at all we don't have anything to hide, that is what it should be. But we know what it is. So one of the other challenges is that the threat, like a lot of community journalists, let's not even go to state or national level, face a lot of threats. Yes, we as an organization, we are not just a non-profit, we're also a network of journalists, and we have journalists tell them that they are afraid to report about their local government.
Why is that so?
Because they know their house, they can easily track them, they face a lot of threats, and they use state and non-state actors. And that's where the challenge comes. Imagine, God forbid, you are just moving, trying to step into your house, some boys just start slapping you, or God forbid, they shoot you, or they machete you, and they will just report it that it's just armed robbery.
When you say non-state actors, are we talking about
touts?
Okay.
Hired assassins.
Hired assassins.
Hired boy. Yes. So a lot of journalists are facing this threat. So that is one of the you are afraid to ask. Even ordinary citizens to also let us be aware there are community associations. We now have community association in each area, like CDAs,
okay.
And the active WhatsApp group. They burn you well, if I can say that. Try to ask questions on that WhatsApp group and say, this road that they are constructing, how much did they? This non-state actor will come alive for you.
But how do we overcome some of these things? Because the truth is, if we keep highlighting the fact that they will threaten you or something will happen to you if you ask questions, and the people are scared and sit back, we are underdeveloping, right? How do we overcome some of these challenges?
Wow. You have asked a very important but a very hard question. A very hard question. Let's start from ordinarily conducting our general elections. How do we address issues as using state or non-state actors to harass, attack,
voters,
intimidate, or even injure or even kill voters? So one is that we need strong institutions, not strong institutions
like police.
Yes, strong institutions.
But they exist already. Why is it strong? Yes, why is it strong?
Strong institutions in the sense that they are somehow independent of the executive. It's independent of party affiliations. So we know how even our judiciary is not really well separated from the executive. We know how recently the judges had a meeting and they were singing on the man.
To correct that, they were, according to the NBA and the rest of them,
yes,
they gave out a statement saying that they were not the ones singing, that no judge was actually singing. I'm quoting their own words.
Who is this not that? Like, I organized.
The music was played, but they did not.
Who hired the person? And I was told that it was played twice. Like, if you can make an error once, then you can now, if you now make it the next time, is it an error? So they hired the DJs. They paid for those infrastructure. So
it's probably in some way.
That is also why, like for instance, people also say that in the house we need to start having our process to be digitalized. We need to know who is voting for this bill or the other. It's not say the yay have it. Those are jaggers. Those are jaggers like
a voice vote now.
Yes,
now
the yay have it. Whether it's the yay that the senator, the speaker have approved. So we want to know who is voting for this. Who is voting for this? I think let's start from. We need to start. Although sincerely speaking, I must confess, like someone is saying, was asking me, is something going to change about the next election? I say it's going to be hard. Because let's look at the arrangement that we have now. There is no real opposition. And it's when we have a real opposition that we can, like, people can say, oh, we need to fill up this gap. We need to address this issue. So the concern now is that we are having ambassadors being nominated, and the normal procedure for nomination from executive is that, oh, take a bow and go. And people, they are seeing it that is the procedure. So beyond the FOI issue that we are discussing, there is a lot of critical issues that we need to address in our democracy, in the so-called the presidential system of government that we operate. There is a lot of buhara, there is a lot of abnormalities that is happening that becomes so normal, but they are not normal.
But the peculiarity, for example, I mean, this is similar to almost many African countries. The problem is not necessarily the laws, because there are laws existing, right? There's FOI Act as it is, it's there. It's like you started from saying it has emboldened journalists. But you and I know that the problem is not in the laws. They are on paper.
It's the institution that is supposed to make the law stronger. So, like, for instance, if the judiciary was really separated, like independent, you can take this issue to court. Like, say, I request for an information from this government official.
So, and they did not give it to me, so what can happen? So
the judges will rightly look at the court. But we know that a lot of tyranny, so you even see some states, the executive, because of the influence that they want to have, they bought, and we are not saying that the judges should not enjoy good things, but it should not be the power of the executive to be giving them luxury cars. Luxury cars. And he will pay with the piper. Will dictate the tune. There is nowhere in the he will pay, and that is why even in the most advanced world in court, they always want to reduce the influence of he will pay the piper, and that is why they monitor who is influencing, or who is, even to the extent of, even though in Nigeria we are still playing around it, who is funding which party, who is funding the level of amount you can fund. So in Nigeria, we know that a lot of things work around that. We know how they
let's find a way around it.
Yeah, you know how much they pay the party in dollars and all those stuff. And there are rules. And recently also, we saw, not so long ago, sitting president, billboard was already, it's still in 2 years, we are seeing billboard outside. And it's an abnormality.
Yeah, but you say it's not the one that...
but you can say, this is not right, they should pull it down.
Okay.
So, still on what I discussed about deliberately withholding information. Sometimes these informations are given as a defense instead of it being there. Like the case that you rightly said about the judges, it was after people started criticizing them that why are you buying houses? Then the report now came out that the judges' salaries had not been reviewed for a very long time, and this is why this and this is happening. But if that information had been released earlier on, we wouldn't have to be going back and forth. So my question now is, what institutional reforms or policies do you think can help Freedom of Information Act, better?
So we should start from even what we are trying to address, funding the budget of the judiciary, which is a very important arm of any democracy, should not be at the pedigree of the executive. It should not be. So we need to look at strengthening policy that comes out with an independent organization, or that's like, say, who is responsible, that the executive will not influence in one way or the other.
Okay.
Appoint, because there's a lot of things that and I can tell you our executive is so powerful to the extent that they can approve oil rigs, they approve oil well. They want to change the life of a family. They have the power to change it over time. Just approve the oil well. So that's how powerful they approve the resources, the mining. There is no oversight, serious oversight and others. So we need stronger institutions to be able to say, oh, that does not influences the legislatures to the way
to independent of each other.
Yes, independent of each other. Independent of each other in the sense that the legislature, the moment they know that the executive is not one way or the other influencing how I get paid, they will be able to speak out. Their voice will be stronger. Their voice will be louder. Or even they will be able to, maybe their voice is cracking. The voice will be treated, it will be able to speak louder to this issue. But the moment the executive, one way or the other, has to be the one to approve some form of spending, there is no independency in how they, and we are not saying that, and when we are talking about independence, it does not mean there is no oversight. So the executive should have oversight, the judiciary, they all are the power of check and balance. So we need to start from developing strong policy that allow for this check and balance, including even our policing, because this discussion is intertwined in a lot of issues. We have had communities say, oh, we are trying to defend ourselves. The military come to us, they take off what we are trying to. There are evidence, well documented there.
Has there been do you have real life examples where access to information, or you demanded for information and it came to you and then it made instant impact, or there was change in policy or something?
Yes, we have seen a few cases where those
information I asked for came out.
Yes, the journalists asked for came out for, and it really changed the dynamics of things. And even starting for, if I can mention some civil society work like budget, the way it's because of access to this information that people can now say, oh, yeah, and they now use those information to create some civil tech to and say you can monitor what comes to your local government today. And people are more empowered to say, oh, so my local government
got this amount of money.
So that means I'm supposed to be seeing this, seeing this. But unfortunately, we still have a form of docile citizens that maybe partisan, ethnical, a lot of mixed things. Because even if there is a difference between having that information and what you do with that information, strong advocacy. Like, oh, this is what our local government has access to.
Yes.
How do you ensure that it brings about development? Because sincerely, let's stop looking to the states. There are a lot of funding for scholarship that come to some citizens even from Nigeria that when they get that scholarship, they are not moving to the federal states in those foreign countries. They are moving to farms, cities. That means you see a situation where even local government is able to fund scholarship and research to develop that are powerful funding and accountability, and people using that funding rightly can do. So people even, they moved, that is a lot of way they moved a lot of our talent, because they don't move dummies, they don't move the lower classes results, they move the best of results, and they come in and they do research and they're changing their society. That means if we are using our fund very well, we can even attract the best of scholars from around the world, and even Nigerians. We are doing a lot marvelously well in other countries, and people can stay back and say, oh, let's do research to solve localized to solve our problem, our local problem. Yeah, is there electricity? Is there diseases? So we are solving because the funding is there and it's used appropriately. We can come up with our research and say, oh, we don't need to be attached to the national grid that is always dying like a Kwanshoko child, or sorry to say, and all this. But we have enough air, like in the north, some part of the north, you see the wind that blows there, and you can turn that to power. Energy, and we have a lot of sunlight now. Imagine maximizing the sunlight And now, some of this sunlight, you are now having renewable electric cars that can power electric cars. Imagine them power our systems, power our lives, and we are solving it at our local government. That means we are using the funds, we are developing research, we are building infrastructure, we are building factories, that to the extent that in each local government, you are even exporting some of those things. So you don't need to rely on what is happening in the interventions from the federal government, but you are making magic, you are making life sweet for your citizens. That's the power of FOI, that is the power of people being accountable and ensuring that this fund really works for the citizens. All
right, so another question I'd like to ask, let's come down to the media houses. How can media houses, digital platforms and the like, amplify the public's right to information, especially, operating a democratic system of government?
But before I go ahead to that, the media is challenged. The media is challenged in the sense that the media does not run independent of whatever economy. If the economy is not, so that when people are saying, oh, why I would try to address how the media can do this, so that when the media is not doing it, society is not just hammering them. Because it costs a lot to be able to run this media, to be able to pay staff. Most of the technologies that you use are forex-based. If anything, your transmitter or anything is faulty, some of them cannot even be repaired locally. You have to go abroad to do it. And most media are dependent on the economy, and nobody should lie to anybody. The economy is very bad that advertisers, who is going to use, and media rely on a lot of advertising, not the fact, however, understanding the fact that some of this advertising may also be dependent on if you are not stepping on the toes of some people and all those things. But if the economy is stable, the media enjoys a lot of this benefit pattern. People want to advertise. This is the season from Christmas. People want, and the media can now have enough resources to amplify this information. And you are not like, because the media has the power to set agenda. And a lot of things define the content that we put every day. Define what is on the front page, define what is on the second page, define what is in the morning show, define what is in the evening show. But a media that is struggling, you will see them having to, there was a time I had to switch off the local channel because all of them was just live streaming one of the politicians' campaign, like at the same time, like everybody. And you can also blame them because they need that money. And you know how much live broadcast costs, how much they get from live broadcast. So if the media has enough resources, they would, instead of collecting peanuts for that live broadcast, they will use that resources to hold that politician that is even doing like that live broadcast accountable. So we need to support the media in one way or the other. Unfortunately, in this side of the world, there is no so much self-donation. That's why we are relying on external donation, advertising, donation, grant, external grants. But the citizen, for you to enjoy an independent media, the citizens must find a way to see. If you see any media platform giving you the right news, it takes money to do it. You can send in donations. As low as 10,000 per month or even more than that can help the media to stay sustainable and be able to ensure that the spotlight, like an hungry man will not be able to see clearly. So the media needs this support. The citizens, if they need, because the media is so germane to our democracy. For you to know the power of the media, the failed coup, so-called failed coup in Benin, the first place, like what has ever happened, where they go to speak is the media. That's how powerful the media is. That means the media will tell you things have changed though, and all those things. So for media to be able to sustain this democracy, we must be able to get the right funding. And I'm not saying that the media cannot do this, but they can try. The media can keep spotlighting with the little or whatever resources to be built. And also because when we have this democracy, that is when the media can be independent too. So the media should be able to put more resources onto this, into issues like holding government accountable, infrastructure, and all that.
How can journalists, just like my final question from you, how can journalists themselves improve? You know, what do they need to do, what do they need to learn, so that even if it's to find a way around whatever bottlenecks that they find in their work?
So the journal, thank you for this question. The journalists need to understand they are operating in a very dynamic and changing environment.
Yeah.
That's ensure that means that they need to stay informed, because you can't give the right information if you are not informed. Improve your education. If it's online classes, if you are covering a bit, no matter how long you have been covering it, you might need to study more, especially if you are talking about budgeting. I know some of them are financial jargons, technical. You need to learn them. Take your time to learn them. And also, we need to talk about technology. Technology can change the dynamics. And I've seen, I'll not mention the global channel. So a lot of times, I'm seeing their reporters even using mobile phones.
Okay.
To report news. Yes. And they add it and they cut it to the rest of the news.
Yes.
So media personnel should learn how to be able to use the digital tools in their hands. They can report live news, know how to know about this technology that they can use to report live news. And everybody is kept informed. Like you don't need, they should be able to understand the power of digital and the opportunity that it gives us. So, with that, they can also explore the opportunities. You don't need to be at the conventional newsroom, be able to, before you can report anymore. You just need some level of technology. You are broadcasting live, even for radio or TV. You don't need the big OB van anymore. Technology has distorted, and that is why a lot of our colleagues are veterans and say, a lot of people are now saying they are journalists. Technology is distorting everywhere. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. Anybody that can use the digital tool very well will be the one people are listening to. So journalists need to use it very well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kehinde Adegboyega. Thank you for your insight, and thank you for joining us on Just Africa today.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.